Gentlemen, Christopher Greene, AMTV, October 20th, 2022. Please like and share this message, ladies and gentlemen. We are literally living in emergency times and emergency measures worldwide. The world is, of course, in chaos, if that's to be believed. And today I'm going to reveal a lot of truth, help you guys think through the adverse events today and how to prepare and ultimately be successful in a evolving and changing global political landscape. You know, we look at propaganda, for example, we look at the mainstream media, politics. Let me give a specific example on this. Liz Truss is now out over in the UK or England, and I don't pretend to understand all the politics that go on that side of the world, but obviously that whole thing is staged, and obviously that whole thing is fake. And she was a fall girl from the very beginning after replacing Boris Johnson. And they put her there in that position and intended her to fail so that they could bring in the next clown, which they had pre-planned prior to that event even starting. And she was doomed and destined to fail because, of course, that part of the world and the West largely is in utter chaos by design and because that's what they want, to collapse the economic, financial, and social systems to lead us to the new one, which has already happened, by the way. So many of you, and I know I'm preaching to the choir, you guys are super intelligent, but so many people out there honestly don't understand what just happened over the last couple of years. So I'm gonna break this down because a lot of it is pure and utter propaganda, and most of the world war has already been fought and won by the East. So you guys need to understand this. I hear a lot of people saying things like, well, Christopher, we've got to prepare for that next Pearl Harbor event. Is Hawaii going to be a target? What part of the fact that China already won and kicked our ass don't you understand? Okay, this is what just happened over the last couple of years. They've already, by design, reorganized all the world's assets and, more importantly, human populations. The war and the new war has been fought with what you just saw over the last couple of years. Territories have been claimed, and the most important resource has been claimed, and that is human intelligence and thought. So let me explain this to you for a minute, because propaganda, as Malcolm X once said, is the most powerful tool. Let's say you tuning in, it's the most powerful resource. It's even more powerful than the purse and the ability to print money. See, I could print my own currency. We could easily do that. But if I can't get people to believe in it, then it's worthless. The power of thought processes in propaganda is actually where governmental control lies. It's not necessarily in the institutions themselves. It's in the institutions of thought and mind control and propaganda to move human psychology to the very destination or achievement or goal that they intend. So let's go over these examples. Let's say I gave you control of the media today. I gave you control of Fox News, MSNBC, CNN, all the internet, okay, all social media feeds, radio, and all mouthpieces. And then I had you put out a message of fear constantly, over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. And I beat it into your head every single day. I told you every day it's raining outside. It's raining every single day, guys. It's gonna rain today. We're gonna get an epic storm. It's gonna rain tomorrow. It's gonna rain the next day. In fact, we're expecting rain 365 days a year. Lightning strikes and lightning bolts. Don't go outside. Eventually, after parroting that method, you'd be standing outside, many of you, not my audience because you guys are smart, but many of the global population will be standing outside in direct sunlight during a beautiful day, holding an umbrella above their head. So that's the power of thought control. That's the power of stimulating through the hive mind, which is all being dictated by technological algorithms today. A truth that we obviously fully understand and we could see a mile away, even 15, 16 years ago when I started in social media, is actually where the real truth be told. And so over the last few years, as you've seen perpetuation of fear, fear your neighbor, don't go outside, don't congregate, Okay, be scared of people. All of those truths that they propelled conditioned and warped the minds and the masses for the absolute control that they wanted. So everyone's standing outside that can't think for themselves with an umbrella out when it's literally bright as day and sunlight, and you can see a beautiful view and there's no rain at all. Okay, now you can also do this in reverse. Let's say that the media was putting out messaging of hope and success and love every single day. Eventually you start to believe it. Well, geez, this is the greatest economic opportunity and breadbasket that we've ever had. Let's say they change the messaging today. And all over the media over the next 365 days, they told you what a great job the central bank and the Federal Reserve had done, raising interest rates and then paying back the debt and solidifying economic strength in the 21st century like we've never seen it before. And then they started featuring stories of people that had gotten rich buying the dip on real estate or crypto. And they did this actually over the last couple of years. You'd start to believe it. It perpetuates into a bull market. It perpetuates from fear and then moves to greed. And these two tools are used by governments that control the media, that don't just control it, but own it, that own and control all of the Fortune 100 companies. And they absolutely dictate human psychology and consciousness and influence of whatever's being perpetuated in your mind at any given moment. So these are all truths. These are fundamental truths. I think most of you understand that. I think I just used a very good example about the rain, okay, and the umbrella, which I just came up with, what seems like a pretty good metaphor for what's going on in the world. So I need you to understand this. World War III has already largely been fought, okay? We're not waiting for like the attack. This is what you guys don't understand, a lot of you. Okay, yes, we're gonna get a tactical event overseas. Europe's gonna freeze, okay? We're gonna see more civil unrest and a high likelihood of a tactical nuke. Absolutely, okay? But that's a part of it. That will only help weaponize the human psychology and consciousness around the narrative that they want in this second, third, tertiary phase of events that are already playing out. So for those of you thinking on edge, like we're gonna get World War III, guys, you're living through it right now. Most of the land acquisition and the human resource acquisition has already transpired. What do you think the last couple of years were for? It was the foundation laying and the building blocks for the logistics that they needed for all of these new controls that they're implementing. Collapse of the West and rise of the East. And everything you're seeing that's left in this destitution, desolate land of the politicking, Trump versus Ye, Kanye West versus Trump, formerly Kanye, are just the last birth pangs of something that already died, which is the West and the United States. It's already over. And this is what you guys need to understand. I'm just giving you hard truths. If anything, you should be learning Chinese right now, and you should be teaching your kids how to speak in Chinese. And you should be pivoting over to the Pacific. So for those of you that say things like, oh, Christopher, I'd be really worried to be in Hawaii. Dude, it's already transpired. What part of this don't you understand? Pivoting to the East, pivoting to the internationalization, so to speak, of the new world is actually where the opportunity is. America's over in its current form. What they're doing now is just engineering the last pitfalls, so to speak, getting people to kind of fight as the kingdom collapses. Now, of course, we've seen this, and the reason I know this to be true is not just seeing it with my own eyes and understanding high-level propaganda, of course, for truth, is I call myself a truth propagandist at the highest law of the land, at the highest level, but is also studying things from a historical context. If you look at any empire from Rome to ancient Egypt, you'll notice these same truths perpetuate themselves over time. So for example, in Egypt, there was times of abundance, there was times of growth, and there was times of order. There were also multiple dark ages, and then there was times of distrust, there was times of plague, and there was times of war. All of these things perpetuated by the mind. Again, all you have control over, ladies and gentlemen, is your mind. and your thoughts. And the thoughts blasting on your television screen daily get perpetuated into the minds of the masses and then parroted among sheep that turn it and build it into reality. Again, you can use this for good or evil. You can use it for fear, or you could use it for positive things like telling success stories about how great everything is. In fact, if you go overseas, you'll notice a completely warped and different media than what we get in the West. If you hang out in Singapore, they'll tell you how good things are on television, how the greatest thing happened today. And it'll tell you about the success that the Singapore government is having with whatever project they're working on. And it's all dandelions and lollipops, and it's all good news. Contrary, if you watch the media in the West, it's all negative, it's all very fearful, and it always perpetuates negativity, and they want that to snowball. And the reason for that, this is what the devil feeds off of. The devil feeds off negative energy. It feeds off of uncertainty. It feeds off of FUD and all these different types of things. So my point being, much of this has already played out. This is what you need to understand. Much of World War III has already been decided. What do you think's been going on over the last several decades as US politicians have sold out America in a leveraged buyout to the Chinese and given all of the wealth and all the jobs and all the manufacturing? What do you think big tech has been doing, helping to install and build the Orwellian internet in Asia? They've been building this stuff and building the inroads over the last several decades. So a lot of this has already been rolled out. This is what the last few years were being used for, ladies and gentlemen. Thought control. Again, what's the most powerful resource you have as a human being? It's not your net worth. It's not money in your bank account. Okay, it's the ideas and the thoughts that you hold in your mind. So I want to flip this and I want to empower you guys with some undeniable, some may say almost unfathomable, but absolutely truthful tools that you can use as a weapon for your own success during this global worldwide chaos, nuclear war at some point, economic, financial collapse, and you can use it to your benefit. All you have as a man or woman are your thoughts. That's it. Your wealth can be taken away from you, even your well-being, your physicality, your good looks, your youth. The only thing permanent in life, a natural truth, the only thing consistent is change. In fact, time and space is a man-made creation for us to try to attempt to understand what we don't. There's no such thing as time or space. This is just the definition that humans have come up with. Your most powerful tool and resource is your thoughts. It's your ability and your conscious determination, almost in hypnotic rhythm, to determine and define your own reality and your own future. So let me give you an example of this. Elon Musk is worth billions of dollars. Billions of dollars could easily be taken away from Elon Musk. In fact, most great entrepreneurs rise and fall. There's booms and busts, periods of abundance and periods of not. But the thing that they can't take away from you is your mindset, is your thought process, is your intention, is your fight, your ability to never quit and to use tools to empower yourself for success. So for example, most people are afraid of things. They are fearful. They do not like risk. They like consistency and safety, which is why fear being pumped on your TV is so powerful. You see, those in control know that by pumping fear consistently, repeating it and parroting it on every single messaging device in the world today, which has been extrapolated and is a lot more powerful than it was when we only had, say, the radio or 5 different television stations on a boob tube. And so they've weaponized that technology to control the conscious mind, which tells you where the power truly lies, in your conscious mind. See, this is what they don't want you to understand. They don't want a mass awakening. So I want you to think about this in terms of your own toolkit and your ability to almost hypnotize yourself in a way. When you realize and you awaken to the truth, some people call this spiritual awakening or the third eye. When you understand that it is you that control predeterminately your own thought action. And it's the only thing that you actually have. The only thing you truly own is your free will and your thoughts. They can imprison you, for example. They could torture you. They could send you to jail. But the only thing you have is what you're thinking about. It is your perspective of the world around you. And it's the conscious mind that taps in to what I believe is God and a universal entity and a universal mind, so to speak, into a universal being, an otherworldly conscious awareness, which I believe is God, obviously, and is Christ. When you pray and you can see God, that you can tap into something more powerful than yourself. So here's what you need to understand today. The world is in chaos by design. We saw this perpetuate, for example, in 1929 with the infamous engineered stock crash. Okay? People's greed quickly turned into a thought processes of fear of, hey, I can't get something from nothing. Stock prices are collapsing. And then the fear, it was just the fear of the conscious mind that perpetuated the selling. And this idea and thought process of poverty, of famine, of not having enough, and of scarcity, which only perpetuated the depression longer than what it should have lasted. So I want you to think about this in perspective of politicians and perspective of the media. If they wanted to, they could constantly project good news on the media every single day. They could tell you it was going to rain outside. They could tell you anything. They could tell men to get boob jobs and that would improve your health. And I guarantee after 365 days of telling you it raised your testosterone levels, you'd live longer, you could live to 150 years old. This is the best thing that we've ever come across in all of our studies, that if men put in fake boobs, okay, you'll live your best life. Women will respect you, they'll find you more attractive. And if you perpetuated that on every television screen, in every boob tube, literally, that's kind of funny, pun intended, in every radio station and social media, and then you were going through your social media feed and you saw all the celebrities in Hollywood and all the men putting on boobs. Kanye West had boobs. All the influencers had boobs. Tucker Carlson had boobs. Everyone all of a sudden had tits. I guarantee you, most of the male population would go in for a boob job. And that is the power of psychological, mental manipulation of the human mind and the conscious awareness of the mind and that human psychology. And it's true. It's absolutely true. So understand, I want you to understand these truths. One, you're in World War III now. Most of it has already been decided. The land grabs already decided. China already has Taiwan, guys. You'll see a couple fireworks, but that's just kind of like the epilogue. The pivot to Asia has already occurred. China is already in charge, and they're the new supreme dominant superpower. The West is on decline. The United States will be a top 20 country. You know, that's where it's going to be. But it's going to lose its supreme currency status, which it already has, and it's going to lose itself as a supreme military power. That's already occurred. And I'm not saying these things I love America. I love freedom. I love the Constitution. These things I don't like. I've been warning them about them for years. I believe in Americana. I think we should rebuild, protect, and defend America in everything that we are. But it's over. This is what I'm saying. You need to understand this. Okay, so for those of you waiting, for example, for the series of typical events like what were experienced in World War I and World War II, you're going to be waiting a very, very long time. The war now is a war of minds. It's a war of propaganda. It's a war of social media tools. It's a war of big tech. It's a war of the new megaphones. This technology is far more powerful than most people realize. In fact, I remember a good friend of mine, a family member, was in some detailed meetings with the former, CEO of Overstock. I can't remember his name at the moment, but he's one of the Trump supporters. He was talking about this years ago as well. He talked about specifically the hive mind. how the new wars would be fought over psychological control, just like they have before in the past. Ladies and gentlemen, if you believe something enough, if something is perpetuated enough into the human psyche, this can even affect your body. Okay, just put that into context of what happened over the last few years. Fear is very, very bad for you in a number of ways. Raises cortisol levels. It can affect your physical well-being. We'll just say that because that's pretty much all I can say. So anyways, world is in chaos. It's going to get much worse, but the question is, what do you do about it? What do you do about it, and how do you prepare? So again, back to the news. Liz Truss, that's a total facade. Obviously, that was planned. Western empires are failing because of what they've implemented intentionally. Like again, the central bank printed debt and currency into infinity because they wanted to collapse the United States of America. Like they wanted to drive the Titanic into icebergs. That's the goal. The goal is to create so much debt so it can never be paid back. The goal is inflation. So when you hear politicians say like, well, we really need to get inflation under control. No, they want inflation. They want debt. They want bailouts. That's why they printed all of it. It's not like they're doing this stuff by accident. They're doing this stuff by intention, by absolute design. So I talk about it from a political level. Today I'm talking from a spiritual level right now because I want these thoughts to empower you guys. We know what's going to come next. NATO, for example, is running drills preparing for nuclear war. Russia's running drills preparing for nuclear war. In fact, China, this is really alarming, is pulling out, telling its citizens to leave parts of Ukraine right now because they're getting ready for the next big one. Kherson, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, there's going to be a major event in and around that region, probably in the next 24 hours. Could even be, God forbid, the tactical event that I've been warning about. So we're getting ready for all this stuff. But again, I want you to understand, I want you to map out in your mind, because I don't think a lot of you realize this. I've already thought 20 years ahead. There's many of you that are only looking at what's happening now. I'm 20 years ahead of you. Okay, I've already seen how this geographic footprint when it comes to strategic relocation is going to unfold. I don't know everything. I'm not God. I'm sure there's going to be a couple surprises. But in general, I really believe this. I'm like 95% certain of what most is going to occur and what has already happened. So what we're seeing in general will be a pivot to Asia and a pivot to the Pacific. This is why they built the Belt and Road Initiative. They built all their maritime pathways. This is why they've weaponized the media and they've weaponized thought control. This is also why there's an attack and war against Christians right now. You see, Christians like myself and many of you tuning in, we're the last line in the sand for the core principles that established the United States government. It was Christians and a nation founded under God through those principles in the 13 colonies that established the United States of America. And this is why you're even seeing the attack and weaponization of Christians, because that's the only thing standing between the devil himself and the complete fall and collapse of the United States of America. It's really Christians. We're the only people left that believe in the Constitution, love the Constitution, believe in freedom of speech, true capitalism, communities, and we believe in strong families and all those different types of things. I'm not saying there's not other groups that do, because there are. But my point is, those that are in the foundational principles of what made America strong, there's now a war to get rid of this over here. They don't want that. You can't have a globalized world with Christians in the United States of America in existence. Now, you also need to understand that this plan and strategy that they've implemented is for the long haul. They don't need to accomplish it overnight, although they've moved very swiftly in recent years. This is a tiptoe to the eventual destination. They're counting on a multi-generational rule, a multi-generational collapse, okay, an overtaking of the system into the new one. And we all know what it is. They've told us what it is. It's a world system and a world government. That's what they want. You can't have a sovereign nation state like the United States exist anymore when we all have to be in it together. That's why they use those terms. You're all in it together. Because again, the whole agenda is a global agenda. It's not about you anymore. It's not about your sovereignty or your freedom, your Bill of Rights or the Constitution. It's about the masses and the consensus. And this is China's playbook. By the way, this is something Ye, and formerly Kanye West, is right about. I don't agree with the other statements he's made, but he's right about the fact that China's involved here. Okay, China is all about the consensus, not you as an individual. You don't have individual freedom. You don't have individual rights. You do what you're told. And so they're moving the West and the United States to that model. Again, you can't have cowboys anymore. You're not, America, they can't have that. They've got to get rid of it. How do they do that? They do that through the control of the masses in their minds. They do that through a manufactured transition into new energy controls. You know, if you want to basically control human populations, you control the power of the purse and the currency. Their minds, firstly, that's the most important thing. The currency itself, you control the food supply, and you control the energy. And energy's ahead of food supply because without energy, you don't have food supply. The whole goal, this multi-generational tiptoe, has been to remove strong families, remove communities, remove self-sustainability where you grow your own food and you're independent. This is also a war against small businesses that can survive independent from large Fortune 100s. That's why they went to war with the essentials and non-essentials over the last few years. Because again, they have to take every form of independence away and all the ideology and spirituality away from freedom and independence that does not need government. And they've got to remove it to move us into the new system of global controls and order. Back to ancient Egypt, or back to any civilization that collapses, and this is actually occurring now. Once people lose faith, as they once did, and you should never have faith in your government at all. You should never, I laugh. Oh, have full faith and credit of the United States? I have zero faith in the full credit of the United States. Zero. You're in debt. You can't pay your bills. Interest rates have been at zero forever. Bailouts to infinity. The faith is zero. This is why you need to get your money out of the banks right away. But as the illusion breaks, as people realize that the emperor has no clothes, what you'll find in ancient civilizations is people move away from the centralized power and they start forming decentralized communities. This is actually happening now. So when Egypt, for example, was experiencing a famine and people couldn't feed their mouths and feed their tummies, they stopped looking at the Egyptian king as a deity. They saw them as flawed. They were like, well, the emperor has no clothes. We're hungry. We're starving. People can't eat. I can't feed my family. Obviously, this is not a deity. This is not a god. And they start breaking off into factions of decentralized little hubs. This is happening now, and this is actually extremely good. And I encourage you to do this. This is what Island Project is doing. We're breaking off into independent Americanas and independent decentralized hubs. We're building our own network outside of sovereign countries because sovereign countries don't exist. This is what you need to understand. You might as well just pull up a map and just circle the whole thing. The whole world is one country now. There is no individual states. They want everything together. So the only way to form individual, sovereign, freedom-oriented communities, opportunities, businesses, wealth, and these kinds of things is by breaking off and forming these distributed, interconnected isle chains. This is literally what we're doing with the Island Project itself. So that's my main message today. My main message is understand that in the midst of the adversity, you actually have your most powerful tool. So for example, let's say you took a billionaire like Elon Musk and he lost all of his wealth. It's very easy for Elon Musk to rebuild his wealth. And the reason is his power and his acumen, his business acumen, does not lie within his bank account. It lies within him. As an innovator, as a technologist, as somebody who's smart, who perseveres, who's relentless. We even saw this with Ye. Okay, for example, Ye, he was $50 million in debt. Now he's worth, he says, $11 billion. Because again, his value isn't the bank account. The value is himself. And this applies to you as well. Everything in this world is immaterial. Like it tells us in the Bible, will he not take care of the birds in the sky? Well, then why wouldn't he take care of you? None of the things around you matter. Okay, your house, your cars, the money in your bank. The things that matter, your relationship with God, your belief in Christ, but also your thoughts, okay? And your ability to persevere in adversity and realize the only thing you have control over, ladies and gentlemen, your greatest gift and strength is actually what you're thinking about on a daily basis. And I would argue is your own hypnotic rhythm towards the achievements that you so desire, whatever those might be. And we live in a decentralized world now. We live in a world of complete opportunity with no barriers to entry. You also have to pick the right vehicle. So this, I think, is a really extreme truth that I want you guys to understand. For example, if you're a janitor, there's nothing wrong with being a janitor. That's a good, honest living. I have no problem rolling up my sleeves, scrubbing down toilets and doing hard work. I think all that's wonderful and all that's great. I think a lot of people are afraid of hard work and they're afraid of getting dirty. So never fear that. But my point with the janitor example is you're not going to get rich. Okay, you're stuck making whatever it is, $15 an hour for the rest of your life. You're in the wrong vehicle, bro. So if you want to create wealth, you're not going to become wealthy scrubbing toilets as a janitor on a limited income and an hourly wage. Let's say you moved into another position. Let's say you had two to pick from, janitorial work or a realtor. Both have the same barrier to entry. You don't need any education to get into them at all. But here is the janitor, you're broke for the rest of your life. But you can become a realtor and make $10 million a year. You can make $100 million a year. See, that's the right vehicle. You've got to pick the right vehicles. Many of you are in the wrong vehicle. For example, I attribute a lot of my success. I'm highly educated, graduated top of my class, went to private and public schools. I was hired into Fortune 100, all these kinds of things. But I was privileged and lucky to have all those opportunities. But I attribute a lot of my success is, number one, my hard work, the relentless nature, my ability to take risks, face adversity without fear, step into it, ask and go for what I specifically want in life, which many of you are fearful of doing. But also I'm in the correct vehicles. Like, for example, there's no barrier to entry to technology. When I started my YouTube channel 16 years ago, people laughed and said it couldn't make any money. It now generates, significant revenues every single year. All the influencers that you tune in with large audience are millionaires because they're in the right vehicle. So I want you to understand this truth. Pick the right vehicle. I'll hear people say things like, well, Christopher, I'm broke, so I can't do this or I can't do that. Your mind is broke. You see what I'm saying? Broke is a temporary condition. You can go from broke to rich as many times as you want in life. You're mentally broke. If you say you're broke and you can't, that's your fault. When you say you can't do something, you're the problem. So don't be mentally broke, is what I'm saying. If you want to empower yourself, become mentally rich, become mentally wealthy. Take control of your most powerful weapon, which is your mind. Don't allow these people to control your mind so you're standing out with an umbrella and fake boobs installed, okay? Which is a lot of the population. And I think a lot of this has to do with the conditioning of people. It's called authority bias. You can have very evil authority figures and people will want to trust them. It's called authority bias, even though they're evil and hurting them. They'll be like, well, I don't know, they're the position of authority. Shouldn't we listen to what they say? No, you should not listen unless these people are actually, doing the right things. If they're not corrupted. You're supposed to think for yourself, ladies and gentlemen. I hear a lot of people pat themselves on the back in recent years like, well, I'm so strong that you stood your ground. Like, it wasn't that hard, guys. All you had to do was say no. That's not hard at all. Like, you think that was a test of some kind? That was like nothing, dude. Like, rise to the occasion. Your ability to say no is not difficult. Just say no, stand your ground. It's not very hard, okay? And it's not that I don't applaud many of you for doing that, but I'm just saying, don't pat yourself on the back like you did something epic. It's not that epic. All you did was say no. You have a lot more work to do. If you want to live your best life, if you really want to level up, if you really want to know the truth, this is why most of the wealthiest people on this planet don't have formal educations, dropped out of college, because those institutional models are there to brainwash the American population and take from you. They're to keep you into a system that they control. All civilizations eventually become corrupted. This is why we need God. They become corrupted in nature. They become non-beneficial. They become feudal, okay, into a feudal order of systems. And it becomes systematized. This is why everything's breaking down. It's by design. The educational system's breaking down by design because that was a con. The con was to take your money. The con was to not teach you real skills. The con was to finance it all through the big banks so they could get rich. So Jamie Dimon could get rich selling you those loans. The con in 2008-09 was this belief that everyone had to own a piece of real estate. Not because they cared about you, because they cared about themselves to get rich, to pad trillions and trillions of dollars into their own pocket and then cause the collapse. All of this is social conditioning. And you have to understand, nothing has changed in thousands of years, ladies and gentlemen. We live in the same feudal system that we had of kings and queens thousands and thousands of years ago, based on any empire that you could possibly study. Also, I'll leave you on a positive note. There's incredible opportunity in this. Once you break free of the matrix, so to speak, and you actually see how disruptive and chaotic things are, you'll figure out how to pivot, leverage yourself, and profit in the midst of all this chaos. It's not difficult to do. So I'll leave you with this. If you're holding on to the old system and the old world, you're going to be devastated in the future, and you're going to lose. So when I tell you things like get out of the banks, create new cash flows, build new systems, level up your mindset, take control of your thoughts, those are all the things that you should be doing, and it's damn good advice. And it's absolutely what you should be doing. If you're doing the opposite of that, holding on to the old system, holding on to worthless fiat dollars, holding on to the trust of authority figures, the banks, and the old idea that America is supreme power, you're in for a world of misery and hurt, quite frankly, and you're going to be severely disappointed by what comes next. If you're hanging on to the political system, the fake illusion that is WWE, did you know Vince McMahon and his wife were some of the largest donors to Trump's administration? There's not a whole lot different from WWE, which we all know is fake, in the current political system. You should catch on to this, ladies and gentlemen. It's all an illusion. Just like Liz Truss was an illusion. She was the hand-picked fall girl by those in charge. They wanted it to collapse. They wanted her to resign, and they forced her to resign. Because there's no politician that's really in control. The system above, the marionette, and the person controlling that marionette is in control. You must free your mind, ladies and gentlemen. You must break free of this matrix. I want to congratulate and I want to thank those of you taking the risk on yourself from the bottom of my heart and giving me the ability to coach and mentor you and empower you guys, and the great privilege of doing that. It is truly a privilege to carry the arc and to carry the burning flame of freedom and liberty and fire that is Island Project, that is our club, that is BitcoinRich.com. Honestly, I'm so thankful and I'm so honored to do that. But I want to welcome from the bottom of my heart Dex Adams today, who just joined here October 20th. To the Island Project Club from Chicago, Illinois. I love you, brother. It's a privilege. We're going to 1000X together. Areno.ak from Anchorage, Alaska, just joined the Academy as well. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much. Carlos Jim just joined from Woodstock, Vermont. Island Project Club just came in with 1,500. God bless you. I love you. Links below and up here for those of you. I'll read your name live on camera right now. Take the risk on yourself. I will teach you fundamentally with the blueprint and roadmap of success to weaponize your mind to 1000X, to get outside of the system, the systemized control that is limiting your advancement for your true empowerment, so that you can arrive, okay, and that you can seek and destroy and find the goals and achievement that you actually want in your life. Riley Vaughn, 25, Seattle, Washington, just joined. I've got a lot of you, by the way, here in Maui and Hawaii. God bless you. A lot of you in the Island Project, and we just had another one join. God bless you. Jarlid, I hope I'm pronouncing your name there. 2030, Washington, just joined Island Project Club with 1,500. Just got in. God bless you. Jesus Christ is King. Thank you so much. Lone Ghost 8198 just joined the Island Project Club from Grand Prairie, Texas. I want to thank the great state, freedom-loving Texans. I love you guys. We have a huge core freedom movement as a part of Island Project and the private placement and also the club, all from Texas. Many of you have upgraded recently from the club to the private placement as well. To learn about that, links below. You can also go direct to islandprojectclub.com. I'll read your name out here live on camera, and also islandproject.com. Also, Jones Ryan Gregory just joined from Georgetown. Doesn't look like DC or that area, but Ontario. Is there a Georgetown, Ontario? Not familiar with that. Just joined the Academy as well. God bless you. BN Life 2022 from Harbor City, California, just joined. And I just had Harold join. Somebody tell me where this is from. This was Harold Lisa 780, just joined. And Fave Daisy just joined from TAGUIG. I don't know where that is. Mexico, possibly. And Aruba Roy 88 just joined as well. God bless you. Jesus Christ is King. What an absolute blessing. Now I can go to some questions. Any questions? Links below. You can click the link below. I encourage you to register. I'll read your name live on camera here in a moment. This is the truth of the current state of affairs and what I believe is organized chaos for a reason. And again, understand it from this perspective. Ladies and gentlemen, let me get my coffee here. The ring on my finger is just a ring that I really like. Yeah, you prepare, absolutely. Rick, what are you doing? I bet you're mentally broke in your own destitution. What's your solution? How are you preparing? How are you getting ready? How are you getting outside of the banks? How are you creating cash flows? How are you decentralizing yourself? How are you building new systems? You've got to do all these things. Most people are mentally broke. And that's why most people you know are literally broke, because they're mentally broke. They've been conditioned. Their mind has been warped. Seriously. If you hang around very successful people, you'll understand we all think differently. Even Steve Jobs said that. His company's gone to crap ever since he passed. By the way, there's no innovation at Apple Computers since he left. But Steve Jobs, many people didn't even like him. Think different. You've got to think different. Yeah, and if you don't want to prepare, then don't prepare. You know, it's kind of funny. Yes, Stanley. Yes, Stanley. Also, pick up the Bible. I see someone say that. I've got my Bible right over there. Pick that up. Read it, and it'll tell you exactly what's coming. And by the way, if you actually listen to this full broadcast, you'll understand. Go back and rewind it. Nothing that I'm saying is worship money. I don't worship money at all. I don't even care about money. I care about energy. I care about using tools and stepping outside of the system and building cool stuff to improve the world. Money is energy, and it's the building blocks for your own success. It comes and goes. No one cares about your net worth. No one cares about the houses that you own or the cars that you have. The world cares about that. Money is energy, and money is also infinite. This is what you need to understand. People think in scarcity. There's like not enough money. It's really hard to make money. Actually, money's infinite. It's printed infinitely. There's too much of it. Money's got to go somewhere like water. You should have some. If you're broke, you're mentally broke. There's something wrong with your mind, or you're in the wrong vehicle. You're not going to get rich being the janitor unless you win the lottery or you inherit it. But if you're in the right vehicle, let's say you're in technology, zero barrier to entry. No one cares if you're a man, a woman, what your religion is, what your education is. No one cares who you are. You can get into technology for $0 and make $1 billion over the next 10 years. So my point is, all of this is in abundance. All of this is infinite. okay? But you need to understand where your real weapon lies, where your real toolkit is what you're thinking here in between your heads. And everything that we've seen, the fear that's been perpetuated by the media, and the only reason they've been parroting that is for systematic control. Again, they could do the opposite. They could tell you how great everything was every day, and that would feed on to greed and help create a new bull market. If they went on camera right now on CNBC and said, this is the bottom, billionaire XYZ says this is the bottom, it's the greatest opportunity to buy and to get in. We saw this with crypto. Remember all the hysteria? Every article on CNBC was like, hey, this guy invested $100 into Dogecoin, the Doge. Now he's worth 50 million. They can perpetuate human psychology through fear or greed, okay, or all of these tactics any way that they want. That's how much power and control they have. Again, they'll get you hanging out, putting an umbrella over your head in the deadening of sunlight. They can absolutely do that. It's so easy to do that. So this is a new globalized system. This is what you need to understand. Much of the pivot has already occurred. Much of the World War III event has already occurred. What do you think they've been doing the last couple of years, guys? It's all about systematic control of populations and a multi-generational tiptoe approach to the end goal. They even know simulatively and mathematically how they've won. They know how many minds need to be conditioned to a certain saturation point so that the dominoes are guaranteed to fall their way. They already know this. Think about that in context of all this stuff that has already happened. I already told you this. What do they keep telling you? We're running out of resources. The planet is in turmoil. This is why they're taxing cow farts and belches and all these kinds of things. This is all falling in to their model. Everything that just happened falls into the game plan. And it's a multi-generational game plan. They're counting on this generation expiring and the new generation that's been weaponized and conditioned, especially through the school systems, to carry on the new reality that they've constructed. You know, children are very impressionable. So they believe anything and they mimic like their parents and they mimic people in positions of authority to think things are normal. This is behavioral psychology. So they don't even need the current generation. People like me and people like you that understand the truth, they're counting on that history to be rewritten. It's your children that they want. It's your children that will be the next generation, okay, of slaves, so to speak. This is why you got to break free of this whole matrix. You got to break free of this paradigm. Homeschool your children. Teach your kids directly. Don't send them to an institution. Start your own business so you're not dependent on the government and you're not dependent on a Fortune 100 that can fire you at any moment. Don't depend on those systems that have systematized centralized power and control over the American people that they then use, okay, as their system of control when times get tough. They'll say, well, sorry, you better listen to us because we control the food supply now. Notice how just a couple dudes control all of the food supply. That's extremely powerful. That's why Jeff Bezos bought Whole Foods. The first thing he bought after conquering and monopolizing small, medium-sized e-commerce businesses and wiping out mom and pops was food. He wanted a food company because that's another power monopoly that he has. I mean, if you control the power of money, the purse, and the media, he also bought the media. That's why he bought Amazon Prime. That's why he's going to buy a sports team next. He's likely to buy the Gladiator games, the Phoenix Suns, I think it is. This is all about control. This is all about vertical and horizontally integrated into a power play move. It's like in hockey. If you're one man down, you're power playing on the opposition. So it's all about the power play. When they control the air, which they're emitting, that they're now manipulating, and they're now spraying chemicals into the sky. The White House just admitted this. And by the way, if that's the technology that they're emitting now, not only had they already been doing that, they're already on to the next technology. Okay, this is called gaslighting. They tell you they're not doing something when they are. And then when they admit it, there's like there's a 10-year decade delay. They're already on to the next technology. I was, for example, reading about these new UFO sightings that they were just pointing out. There was a pilot that came from, I think it was Honolulu to the mainland in California and said he saw these 3 UFOs moving in circular motion, and it didn't look like a weather balloon or a satellite. They're putting out that narrative as well. The UFO narrative is a part of the psychological brainwashing and the hypnosis that they're putting the American people under. This is all part of, it's a CIA weapon, all this stuff that they're doing. This is what you need to understand. Everything I'm telling you is the truth. Again, he who controls the thought processes of the people and that implants the seedling, and I want you to think about this from a positive way as well. Every failure and adversity in your life has the seedling of an advantage. Think about this, very powerful. I just gave you a very powerful golden nugget. I'll teach you more at school and at the club. Every obstacle, every failure, okay, every adversity has the seedling, okay, of an advantage, or the seedling of a learning experience where you learn something that you didn't know before. I come across this all the time in entrepreneurship, and then I scale it even more. And I watch my revenue go up 10x from where it was before. I'll have a little failure, and then I'll go, I didn't think about that before. I didn't realize that, or I didn't see that as a weakness, and then I'll fix it and plug it and scale it. So every failure, see, most people, most of you, 99%, all of you, can be as successful as you wildly imagine. Okay, but you have to be persistent and relentless. Most people give up right before the achievement, right before the breakthrough. You have to be very disciplined and consistent. This is why I tell you guys to get out of bad habits. So for example, if you're drinking a 6-pack every day, that's a bad habit. Okay, it's gonna make you tired, it's gonna make you anxious and depressed. It's going to hurt your body. It's going to drift you psychologically, mentally into more dark thoughts and these kinds of things. It's not going to help your mind level up. I'm not saying that you can't have things in moderation. You can. But I'm saying you got to get out of your vices and your weaknesses. If you're unhappy with your life, probably it's you. You probably don't like your job. Well, get out of the job. If you don't like your relationship, find a new one. We all have people in our lives like this where they actually detract from you. I call them emotional vampires. You need to get rid of that. Only associate yourself with people at a high level. Try to bring everyone else and help them rise. And this is my common criticism. It's why you guys need to get into the Club and Island Project right away. Click the links below. Is that 99% of the people you follow don't actually give you a solution to anything. They don't tell you how to improve your life. They haven't built anything. It's just, hey guys, nuclear war is coming tomorrow, yeah, the worst is coming. Look how bad it is, and then just stay tuned for the next video. See, I do the absolute opposite. Not only do I not run any advertising at all, notice this. Go look up these statistics right now. If I enable AdSense, I can generate about $50,000 a month. That's just a fact. You could go look this up right now. Just look up my channel and plug in the numbers. All this is public. You'll see that based on my viewership, the range is about, and I did have AdSense employed at one point, but then I turned it off because I just didn't want advertising anymore. It's about $50K a month nut. Notice, that's, for a lot of people, that's a lot of money. I never run ads. Okay, the only thing I ever tell you about are the things that myself and my team have built that are actual real solutions for your human level empowerment. For example, you invest in Island Project, you're investing in capital gains, real ownership, cash flows, you're investing into a tokenization event that could go 1,000x, and I'm doing it all for you guys democratized and building it on a blockchain for the first time in world history. It could just be me, one other person, and a large investor, and I could launch Island Project on my own. That's not hard to do, but I've done the opposite. I've democratized it so all of us are successful together, because again, there's no point in building significant net worths in an empty world and not having a larger mission statement for human empowerment and building actual inroads to freedom in an actual community. You'll notice this in the actual blueprint of what we're building. It's not about the money. I didn't get into social media to make money. I got into it because I saw it as the most powerful tool to get a hold of what? People's minds. Because again, your thoughts are the most powerful resource on this planet. The energy and your human level conscious awareness and that hypnosis, so to speak, is the most powerful tool. And I've always been interested in that. Not money, Because again, money can come and go. Money is just energy. Net worth is worth rise and fall. I see my net worth rise and fall millions of dollars depending on the crypto market every single day. And it doesn't matter to me because that's not where wealth is. Wealth is inside of all of you. Spiritual wealth, relationship wealth, business wealth, monetary wealth, physical wealth. It's all inside of you. It's the thing you can never take away from a man or a woman. Once you understand this, guys, like I'm telling you, your life changes. You'll make more money than you've ever made in your entire life. Like once you understand the truth to all this and you actually see the truth for what it is, that the only thing you can control is your actual thoughts, that nothing else matters. And then you go out into the world and create value based on that. And you lift people up and you solve other people's problems and you give them solutions. That is true power. That is true wealth, not a bank statement, not how many homes you own or the car or any of that. That's what excites me. I mean, that's honestly, that's why I do what I do. That is the beauty of why I love what I do. And, I've always seen these illusions ever since I was a kid. I'm like, well, why do people retire to do nothing? That seems stupid and gluttonous. And it seems like avarice, like you're just doing something just for pure greed. Like, what's the point of that? That's empty. That's lost. Again, the beauty of life and the beauty of a God is having purpose and a common vision and lifting people up and living your best life in service for others or building things for others or improving the world or saving souls or using this energy as a tool. Noah, I'm guessing, was probably very saddened and heartbroken that people did not hear his message until the flood came, which is why God chose only to save his family and kin. And everyone else was shut out of that ark and they perished. I mean, go to the Grand Canyon, for example, and you'll see the evidence, the quite literal hardcore evidence and the evidentiary facts of a wipe-out, world-ending civilizational flood event, which is exactly what it was. I mean, you see this all over the world. You can see this anywhere in the world and how catastrophic that was. And so you have to understand these higher truths. You have to rise above. You have to understand this universal energy. You have to understand that you can tap in to Christ. You can tap in literally to God. And that this is what they don't want you to know. Again, this is why they spend so much time weaponizing the media and putting out all the fear. The last thing Satan and the devil want you to do is wake up. If we all connect with enlightenment and start building stuff together and empower ourselves and become independent, it's over for Satan. He loses. It's over for the politicians in power. It's over for the control grid. It's over for all these kingdoms that's being ruled by kings. They know this. And if I was an evil person and I was them, I would do exactly what they're implementing now. I would take control of all the megaphones and I would push as much fear as possible and I'd push the psychosis into the minds and then I'd especially get the kids because I'd be counting on the multi-generational effect. Not even worried about the current generation. I'd be thinking about my own legacy and how I was going to transfer power interfamilially to my kin. And that's how these people think. And not to mention that they're also working on their own integrative measures to blend in to robotic technologies and transhumanism as well. So what they're trying to do is cement their kingdoms eternally and universally. Okay, that's why their billionaires are uploading their consciousness into supercomputers and they're coming out with all this new tech and stuff. Their goal, they're trying to live forever. They're trying to escape death. They're trying to escape God, okay? Even if you look at history, most of these civilizations, their attempt is they're always like focused on themselves and how cool they are and how good man is. And they worship idols and stuff of their own greed and these kinds of things. They're false idols. And they start moving away from God. I mean, this is why God flooded the earth. It just became so corrupted. And it's become corrupted since the days of Noah. When the ark landed on, Mount Arafat, I believe it was, and it's just become more destitute and corrupted over time. What we're living through now is the technological building, the technological Tower of Babel, okay? And we are very close to the return of Christ. This is why they're introducing Project Bluebeam and aliens and UFOs. This is more of the psychosis and the psychological control of general populations to do what? You're insignificant, you're a grain of sand, you're a fart blob that exploded during the Big Bang. They don't know how the Big Bang got there. They tell you things like there's not intelligent design, you came from an ape. Ooh, 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 ah, 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 ah. All of it is lies and all of it is bullcrap. And it's there to control you so that you don't understand the truth that I just revealed to you today, that you have true power through Christ and our Lord, and true power through God. And everything in this universe is energetic. And there's multiple planes and multiple dimensions. And once you understand this, some of us are more closely connected to others. You've got to completely step out of fear. It's difficult for a lot of people to do. People want to hold on. Even if it's fear, they'll hold on to the certainty of fear. Okay? Again, there's authority bias. Even if it's not good for them, they'll hold on to it like a rock. I need that fear, they'll say. I need that control. I need to think someone else is in charge. You're in charge. That's what they don't want you to know. God's in charge, number one. But you're in charge of your own actions and your own thoughts. And this is what they don't want you to know. And this is why they control the media, they control the press, they control all technology, and this is how the system works. And so the war is the war that I just told you about. It's a spiritual war. This is what you need to understand. This is a spiritual battle. This was a good episode. I think this is really enlightening. Hopefully I did a good job explaining it. And I also want to encourage you, take the risk on yourself today. Join us at the club. Join us at the private placement. Links up here and down here. I'll never contact you, by the way, asking you to email me. You know, we go out and filter all those bots and stuff. The only place you can find me are these links. I've pinned them, or they're in my description, or islandprojectclub.com or islandproject.com or bitcoinrich.com. Those are the only places you can find me. So to learn more about this, okay, to turn your mind into your greatest asset, where you control your own thoughts, okay, where you truly are able to model with a blueprint of your own success to go out there and achieve whatever it is you want to achieve, to become a part of something bigger than yourself, whether or not this is improving your relationship health, your physical health, your body, your mind, your business. A lot of people are struggling with cash flows right now. So I always say, if I don't know you, I can't cash flow you, bro. If I don't know you, I can't cash flow you. Okay, so join, click the links below. We can have a chat and we'll discuss. You'll get the early bird access too when I eventually roll things out with our blockchain and a whole lot more. And you can learn our fundamentals too, of course, at bitcoinrich.com at school. Let me read up a couple more names here because I just had a few more of you to subscribe, and I want to reward you with a public announcement here. Let me go to the refresh button, and I want to welcome Ed Hage, 65, just joined the Academy. Stillong, 168, from Newtown, just joined the Academy. And I also got someone from Florida here, Genia Talian, just joined. And STB.Schreiner just joined from Frankfurt. God bless you. Jesus Christ is King. That's all I got for today, ladies and gentlemen. Links below and up here. I love you. Jesus Christ is King. What you just heard is the truth. You have every opportunity in the disruption to live your wildest dreams. Do anything. Do not be mentally broke. Chances are, if you're broke, you're mentally broke. It's your own mindset. Realize you've been conditioned, okay? And this is the goal of the emperor. And realize that the emperor has no clothes, ladies and gentlemen. They've shown their hand. The wolves have pulled the cloak off and showed you who they really are. Never forget what these people did to you. Never forget how much fear that they've been pumping out. Never forget what they're doing now. Instead, rise above. Rise above. Find solutions. Go to Christ our Lord. Go to our King. Build cool stuff. Step outside of your own fear and uncertainty and build the futures. Build the world that you actually want to see. And most importantly, save as many souls as you can. Hallelujah. Jesus Christ is Lord. He is our King. Today, I just revealed the hard-hitting and hardcore, in-your-face truth. Links below, islandprojectclub.com, islandproject.com, islandprojectclub.com, islandproject.com. I'll read your name on the next broadcast. I love you. God bless. And by the way, get ready for some exciting announcements because I take my own advice. As you already see here, I've been living my dream here the last 3 years in beautiful Maui. I've been living my dream the last 16 years, but I'm leveling up another 1000x. I'm about to reveal and show things here in beautiful Maui that you haven't seen yet. Because again, there's more opportunity now than there's ever been in the history of the world in the disruption, because there's even less people that think like you and I that are outside of the system that see the opportunity for what it really is. So I'm going to be leveling up big time. And also, I want to see you in beautiful Maui, boo. I got a Jeep ready for you at rentmauijeeps.com. That's rentmauijeeps.com. I've got an entire fleet that serves you, my audience at AMTV, and more specifically, Island Project private members. And those of you at the club get discounts, you get comped days, all kinds of other amenities. You can, of course, visit me at rentmauijeeps.com. All my Jeeps are first class. Most of all of them actually come with leather. Some are lifted. They've got surf racks. We've got coolers for you. I mean, these things are sick. I'm actually going to lift G.I. Joe. He's one that I drive quite a bit myself, and I'm probably going to give him a 3-inch lift. So if you're out here in beautiful Maui, boo, make sure to reach out to us. I'll include a couple hats upon your arrival. Everything's white glove. And if you need any transportation or anything like that too, I can have limos pick you up in and around from the airport, public or private, here in beautiful Maui, boo, the #1 real estate asset class in the world. And also you can check us out at our brokerage, Island Project Brokerage. If you need help buying or selling real estate, listing your property, go with us. We're the #1 team in the world, and we can help you through all that. Also give market knowledge and a little free consult for those of you buying and selling property here in beautiful Maui, boo, and also Oahu, the #1 real estate brokerage as well in the world, utilizing technology and all of these amazing truths. Pretty cool, guys. Like, I'm pretty stoked, man. I'm pretty darn excited. And again, stay tuned because I've got exciting things coming. We're leveling up. If you think what you've seen so far is cool, wait until you see the next few months. It's going to be sick. And also, too, we're going to have more podcasts. I'm going to do a lot more of that. So anyways, I love you. Hard hitting and in your face. If you see some dude out there paddleboarding, screaming 1000X, it's me, by the way, in Maui, boo. I love you. God bless. Jesus Christ is King. Links below. Want to see you at school. Want to see you at the club. IslandProjectClub.com. IslandProject.com. IslandProjectClub.com. IslandProject.com. Hard hitting it in your face. I'm Christopher Greene, signing out in beautiful